So welcome to this session. So as you all know that today is the first session of week 3. So basically in this session, we will address activity and practice questions regarding week 3. So before going into the queries, Dhanya ma'am is with us.
Yeah,
So
Sonal, I'll take it from you. Thanks, Sonal. So just wanted to check if anybody has any questions regarding the CSS assignment, because we had one post on the discourse trying to
yes,
clarify. Yeah. So I just wanted to check if anyone has any issues. If anybody has any questions, please ask.
Yes. So anybody can ask questions related to lab assignments if you have.
Yeah, more specifically the CSS one.
Yes, on the CSS lab assignment.
Okay, so I guess there are no questions for anybody. I think then we can carry on with the Adarsh. I guess there are no questions. Shall I think we can move on with what we had planned. No?
Yes, ma'am. I can take over.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Sonal. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah. So I think you don't have any queries regarding the live assignment. So let me take over this session. So yeah, as today's session is regarding the queries of activity and practice. So let me first ask that who all who all watched all the videos regarding activity. Sorry, attempted the questions regarding activities and practice, or watched the video regarding week 3. Okay, I can see one hand raised, two hand raised. Okay, so the peoples who are raising their hand, they are watched all the video or attempted all the questions. You can.
I have watched almost all the videos. I have completed tools in data science too, and I was on activity questions too.
Okay.
The rest are yet left to be completed.
Okay, so you had done all the activity questions.
No. Only till activity question 2 I have attempted. The rest
Okay,
are left.
3.2.
Yes.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, so that's great. Okay. So yeah, Mehek, you can unmute yourself and can tell what you had done and how much you have covered.
I've watched the lectures and assignment questions and activity questions of week 3.
Okay, so you had attempted all the activity questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So yeah, I am assuming that you have doubt regarding activity. So yeah, so anybody, you.
Regarding one practice assignment question.
Okay. So yeah. So anybody who had queries regarding activity and practice, this is a session. So basically, we are in this session. We are basically focusing on the queries regarding this only. So you can ask. Yeah, Mehak, you can also ask.
I have a doubt on question number 10 of practice assignment.
Okay. Question number 10. Okay, so let me open that file first. Practice question number 10. One minute. So question number 10. So this is basically from PyHTML, right? So what is your doubt regarding this question? Can you explain me?
Can you show the screen?
Okay, but I'm not writing anything on the screen. Okay, if you have that file open, then no problem. If you are not have that file, I can share my screen.
I don't have the question. I haven't opened the portal right now. So.
Okay. So let me share my screen first. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So what's the doubt?
I have a simple doubt here. Like, we have H1 and Li here.
Hmm.
Isn't like we have to write Li first and then H1? Like, list should be out and then we should give a font heading instead of this way.
So see, we can also give what you are saying. We can also do in that way, but as in this question, we had output as a question, right? So according to this output only, we had to choose our answer. So that's why we are attempting like this, right?
So
This
here
is
it can be out of the list tag.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so you can elaborate what you are asking. Is see, basically what you are saying it is also correct, but we have as it is in this question, there is a generated HTML output, and according to that only we had to choose the correct options, right? So if we give that what you are saying, that we can also use H1 inside of li tag, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So see, if you use H1 inside the li tag, I think had you tried this thing?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so see, in between the session, you can also try and let me know that what will be the output. And if that output, I think that output is little bit different. So that's why. And after that, if you had some query regarding this, we can discuss after that.
Okay, ma'am.
First, you have to try on your own, and then we can discuss. Okay. Okay. Hello. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. Are you trying in this?
Yes,
Are you
ma'am.
trying?
Need on repeat.
Yeah. Please try and let me know. Yeah. So anyone else? Hello.
I had a query regarding week two's lab assignments.
Yeah. Query regarding week 2 lab assignments.
Yeah, will we be getting a solution code for it? I don't think we have had that.
Okay. So solution code of what? HTML, CSS.
Both of them, because HTML was like, okay, I got the marks, but the CSS one I was unable to understand what went wrong. So will there be a sort of guide thing in order to tell us what we did wrong, or we can compare our solution to the one that that the course will itself provide? For example, for graded assignments and practice assignments, like for graded assignments, after the deadline has passed, we do get a solution. We have gotten a solution PDF. Will we be getting for that lab assignments as well?
So Adarsh, can you take this question? Hello, Abhishek.
Yeah, hi Sonal.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a minute. I've asked Danya ma'am for that. Just a minute, Suyesh, okay? So see, all the questions regarding the lab assignments will be, so that was the reason ma'am had asked initially, right? So yeah, just wait a minute. You can like go on with the other doubts regarding the this thing, week 3 content. Question regarding the lab assignments will be addressed in a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So apart from the lab assignment, you can ask query regarding the activity and practice. So that's why we had called the ma'am, right? As to address all the queries regarding lab assignment. So yeah, you can ask in the session or at the end.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So anyone else? Please, you can ask all the queries if you had. The one who had completed their activity questions and is doing practice questions. So I'm expecting questions from them. If you are completed activity questions, yeah, you can post your queries in chat also. Am I audible?
Yes, Sonal, you are audible.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So okay, so I'll wait for 1 or 2 minutes, and then I think I'm expecting some queries from your side also.
Hello, ma'am. I have a
Yeah,
question.
Rakesh. Yeah.
In the activity question 3.7, the last question asked that an efficient web accessibility relies on which of the following component, and the answer says web content, authoring tool, and user agent,
Which
all of the above.
okay. Which section you're talking about? 3.7. 3.7. Let me go to that section first. 3.7. Question number?
Last question. Question number 7, the last question.
Okay. Yeah, last question.
I'm not able to understand this question, that and specifically what is the user agent? What is the concept of user agent?
Okay, so see, first you need to understand what the question is saying. So our question is, an efficient web accessibility relies on which of the following components? So see, first tell me that what do you mean by web accessibility?
How easily an user can understand the website?
Okay, so how easily? Yeah, so from accessibility, that thing that you are saying, okay, so that is also fine. So see, uh, we are talking about the components. So which of the following components is an efficient is a component that our accessibility relies. So see, we have web content, authorizing tools, user agent. So see, these are the components that basically work in order to what I say, enhance the web accessibility. So what do you mean by web accessibility? First, you have to understand that. So see, web accessibility is something that a user which is seeing your web page, and what he or she is experiencing, and what he or she is if uh, he she is sorry, if he or she is uh,
I mean, like
watching that.
suppose some user is finding some information. I mean, searching some information, or want to do something in a website. Then how much he or she could find the option? Like, where is the option? Here is the option, and I click the button, and I got my result. So something like that.
Yeah. So
So,
see, web accessibility, that type of content which is accessible by everyone. It is something which is regardless of disability. Sorry, the people who is let's say who is suffering from any kind of disability. So if we are talking about web accessibility, so this is something that can be accessed by everyone. This is the basic idea, right? So the basic idea is that all every people or every person, whatever their location is, whatever their physical need is, whatever their ability is, the main goal of web accessibility is that with having the diverse range of peoples, the web is accessible to, will be able to accessible by all. So in option we have web content, authorizing tool, and user agent. So basically in web content, what we have, the content, as the option is saying that web content. Okay, so any part of the web page, let's say we have buttons, we have images, we have any kind of thing which you treat it as content of your web page, it will constitute that content of that particular web page, what you are seeing that. So this is the web page. Along with that we have authorizing tool. So what is authorizing tool? So basically these are some kind of what we can say software. Okay, it is a kind of software which you are using in that application. Okay, so let's say you are writing your code in that your code editor, or you are using any kind of IDE. So all these software which you are using in order to build that particular web page, so these are the kind of tools that you are using. Okay, so these are some kind of authorizing tools. And the third option is user agent. So see, user agents are nothing but the, what I can say, see, let's say if we take example of browser. Okay, so browser is also a kind of user agent. Okay, so this mobile okay, so we can treat a browser as a user agent. So are you getting me?
Yeah, I'm getting. Is there some more example of user agent? Like this
User
concept is
agent
not.
like media players and application, which is the thing which is directly in contact with the user. Okay,
Okay.
so that agent, see, we are talking about user agent. So the thing which is directly in contact with the user, and same time it is giving kind of input or kind of request, we can say that request or inputs to the application. So that's why we are taking
Okay.
as
So
a
like
browser as
like some applications which are used to display some particular result, like video player.
yeah, media player, video
Yeah,
player, this kind of things.
yeah. Okay, got it.
So yeah, so all these things we can treat it as a user agent. Okay.
Okay.
uh, okay.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I tried the code and it worked. So both ways are working.
Okay, so both the ways are working, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, that's the thing that is why I asked you to do that, because I know that what will be the output, but I want you to try on it own. So the thing you are asking to me, it is all clear to you right now, right? Right?
Yes, ma'am. But like, why does it work? Like, can we just interchange like all of the tags, even like if I want few tags? Like,
Mehak, your voice is breaking for me.
ma'am, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, but the voice is low at some time and sometimes high.
Ma'am, like we interchange the tags here, but when can we not interchange these types of tags? Like, what examples are there for that?
So it depends, right? So see, here we are using, basically here in this question which you are asking, it's basically we are listing some here we are listing color name, right? We have red, green, and blue. So our main focus is on that we have to list three three objects, three colors. So what we need, okay, we need a li tag, okay, and here we can see that it is of h1, h1 what heading. Here we can use h1 heading. So so what we will need in this, we have two things. It is very mandatory that we want a list tag and we want a heading tag. So you when you try interchangeably this tag, it will also work, because there is a here in HTML. See, some of the tags are used in order, like we are using a title tag in the section, head section, and the body section we can't use the title tag. So these are some of the things that you can't exchange, or you can't can I tell, you can't bother them, okay. So if you are using the title tag in the head, it is all right, but you can't use that tag, a particular tag, or any kind of meta tag in the body section, right? So this is the a basic boilerplate of HTML. This thing you can't change. But yeah, in the body section, you can change things. You can change things according to the output you want. Okay, so here we want a output that, first of all, it is kind of it follows the listing property, and second, it is of a first level of heading. So these two things is important. So that's why here we can use them interchangeably. Okay, so it also works if you are interchange that thing, it also works. But if that body tags you are using inside the head section of that HTML, so it won't work, it will give you an error. So that's why you can interchange the tags in the body section. Is depends and on it depends on the output, but some of the boilerplate which is fixed, you can't change them.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
So, Sonal, is the question regarding interchanging of H1 and li tag, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, basically you won't observe much difference in both of those cases. But yeah, there is basically one difference that you can definitely observe is that if you will try to basically, nest an H1 tag inside li, what you will observe is you will only get the text in bolds or, in large font size. But if you will try to embed the li inside H1, so what you will observe is, the pointers, for example, the circles, the hollow circles, or even the sequence if you are using an ordered list. So those will also become bold and, somewhat big in their font size, since they are, nested inside the heading tag. So that property for heading will also be applied to those pointers. Maybe you can try this thing in your browser itself, that if you will embed an H1 inside li, you will only get the text as bold. But if you will embed or nest the li inside H1, you will see that whatever you are using, if you are using an unordered list, you will see that the bullet size is increased by a bit, and even the same thing you can observe with an ordered list.
Yes, so I just saw I missed this small part.
Okay, yeah, no issues. So that's the difference, small difference.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I think that will be the difference. Okay, so anyone else?
Hello, ma'am, can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yeah,
Pankaj Kumar Jaiswal.
Yeah.
Actually, I am having trouble with week 3 lab assignment. I just request you, can you upload a example video how to do the assignments and upload on the IITM site, because they are explaining it in Ubuntu world and I am used to with the Windows, and I am new to programming, and it is quite difficult for me to do the stuff. There are too many conditions to comply with while submitting the assignment.
So it's regarding week 3, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
It would be better if you show with an example how to do the stuff and upload to an IITM site. So it would be better for newcomers like me.
Okay. So
Abhishek, do we have a video from last run, like some live session, some link somewhere where we can? I mean, we had a demo on how to upload it on the.
Yeah, we had a dedicated live session on that, but we don't have a small video. Means I'm just curious to know, means if you have already submitted the week 2 lab assignments, what other difficulty you are facing in week 3?
Week 2 lab assignment, I submitted using Notepad.
Okay.
I didn't use Ubuntu. I used Notepad, and
Yeah.
But this time, I suppose I have to use Ubuntu, and that is
No,
quite
means I'm not able to understand why do you need Ubuntu if you don't want to really shift.
I don't have any idea how to do this in Notepad. It would be better if you show it with an example. That's what I'm requesting.
Okay. Means we can show you a small example that it's okay. But yeah, I just wanted to tell you that you can just install the Python in your machine, right? And then doesn't matter which ID you are using or which code editor or which text editor you are using. You will just require that in order to write some code. If you have the Python installed in your system, you can run it from anywhere. It doesn't matter which ID or which text editor you have used for coding, for writing.
Yeah, that's fine. But an example would be better.
So Pankaj, which aspect of the code do you think you would have necessarily needed Ubuntu? Which aspect of the assignment, which component of the assignment?
Screencasts are in Ubuntu, so I'm having trouble with that.
Okay, so means are you finding to execute some of the commands difficult on Windows? Is it?
No, I'm trying to do that in Ubuntu, and I'm facing trouble in doing that in Ubuntu. I haven't tried that in Windows.
Okay. So I'm not sure means what other difficulties you're facing, because all of those commands should work perfectly well on Windows as well as on Ubuntu operating system.
So Pankaj, just one request, like currently are you working on Ubuntu or Windows?
Windows.
Okay, so see, if you see the Modern Application Development 1 Discourse forum, right? The first run of the course, we had similar problems, very, very similar problems. If you just give a search in the forum, it should fetch you a lot of answers. See, why we are not hesitant to give you an example or a demonstration or anything. The problem is this is all been done earlier, and this has already been, explained in detail by a number of people, number of our students also. So.
Okay. I'll try.
Yeah, so just try it once again, and if you just post it. Are you active on Discord?
Yes.
Yeah, so just keep posting, because a lot of questions in the last run as well as this run, we see that a lot of people who are well versed with the idea of application development, they have been helping out the peers, and please try to do that. I mean, see, we are also the diploma level, you cannot expect a demonstration for every simple thing. There are a lot of things, a self-learning aspect that has to come from this. So just try to do that. And if it's a difference between the two operating systems, it shouldn't be a problem, because a number of our students in the last run were totally Windows users. So they didn't have to install the Ubuntu or anything, and we don't insist also. So that should be definitely doable. It's just a matter of getting the right inputs, and just try to look for it on the discourse. If you're still not able to get it, tag Abhishek or Adarsh once again, maybe tomorrow or day after, and you should be able to get help.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Yeah.
So there is one more suggestion in the chat that you can even use Replit for that. It will abstract away all of the OS kind of issues for you.
Okay. Thanks.
yeah, so anyone can also ask queries regarding the lab assignments. So
I wanted to ask, in the lab assignment, the question states that just one second.
which week lab assignment?
Week 3.
Okay.
It says that generate an output document, output.html and an image. So this image is generated by Python and is stored elsewhere and then used in the HTML.
Yeah, correct. So basically, you can use the matplotlib package in order to generate that image, and then you can embed the same image in your HTML template.
Okay, and submission file will only have the final like one app.py, right?
Yeah, you are only supposed to submit the Python program. So when we'll pass some command line arguments to your program, so that program should be able to generate that image, and of course, that relevant HTML file is.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, so any queries regarding week 2 HTML and CSS or week 3 you can ask there. And apart from that, yeah, week 3 activity and practice question, you can also post in the chat, as well as you can ask and unmute yourself and ask. So I can see 67 participants here in the live session, and only 2 or 3 students is asking queries. So are you all done with the videos? If you done with the even 1 or 2 or 3 videos, I think there will be some queries. Okay, Snehil, no, completely. Okay, so how much section you had watched? 2 or 3 videos if you have watched. So it will be good if you can ask a question regarding it also. We can have a discussion also on particular topics.
So Sunil, there was a question specific to the week 2 lab assignments. Can we address that right now? I think Danya ma'am has joined, so he would be able to answer that.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
because I joined a little late, right, I'm not able to see those questions again in the chat. I think it is kind of flushed out. So if you can just read it out or something, I think.
So ma'am, I think Suyesh, as far as I know, wanted to ask on the
Suyash
lab
Gupta,
work.
is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Suyesh,
Suyash,
would
please
you?
ask. Yeah.
Yes. I actually had a question regarding activity questions 3.6.
Oh,
The
okay.
question
I thought
number
it's a
is
CS
5.
assistant.
so
Okay.
Suyesh, you also had some queries regarding the lab assignment, right? So we had asked
Yeah,
you
the
to.
lab assignment as well.
So you can first you can ask that, and then we can go to the query, because Tanya ma'am is there, so we
Yeah,
can
so
have.
see, just not sounding like an important person or anything. Okay, sorry if.
Okay.
No. What I'm saying is, like, I just had another meeting to go on. So if you have, if any one of you have any questions on the CSS assignment, right, because that had caused a lot of confusion for all the students. So that's why I'm here to clarify any of the queries that you have. May not be too technical, but the other aspects of the evaluation and all those aspects, if you have any questions, please ask. So Suyash, I guess you had some questions on those lines. So if you can just ask me that, I think I'll try to address. Suyash, do you want to go?
Yes, ma'am. I am. I actually had the query regarding CSS assignment that I submitted. The HTML assignment I submitted, I got the marks, correct. The other part, when I submitted the CSS assignment, the public cases were all 100 out of 100. But the private ones didn't come out to be that good, and the marks have gotten down over there. I have no clue as to check what I did wrong in the assignment that I submitted. So what my query was, will we be getting any sort of solution code or some solution PDF for the assignment, as in a template in a way, so that we can compare our solution to the correct one and then understand what we did wrong or what I did wrong exactly, basically.
So that's almost the same concern that I think most of the students who scored less in the CSS assignment have. So what I want to clarify here is that, see, we had the same assignment in the earlier run also, okay, and there was a lot of confusion. That's why we thought, okay, this is an important aspect which cannot be left without being as an assignment, because then nobody will attempt it. So we decided to have it as an assignment. But the tricky part of having a CSS assignment is that there are multiple ways to accomplish the same thing. I'm sure there are a number of ways to do a same thing in HTML, Python, C++, Java. In every language, I think there are multiple ways to do this. But in the case of CSS, when you're actually trying to go through the script and then try to see whether it is achieving the real effect, then there are numerous ways of doing it. So if you look at it as something like the branches of a tree, right? There are multiple branches that will actually give you the same effect. So the evaluation script that we ran, so I have actually posted something yesterday in the modern application development discourse forum also. So I don't know whether you have seen that. I'm assuming you have not, because in that case, I don't think you would have had this doubt. So we actually addressed only a subset of those combinations, those possibilities which can result in the correct display. Okay, so what we are trying to do now is like it is not possible to give an individual feedback for the CSS. I mean, in the sense that for operational reasons as well as for the magnitude of what we are doing, right? So what we are thinking is like we will give you something like a sample solution, and we'll also tell you, okay, these are the parameters which we have tested, and this is the way that we are going to give the score. So more details on that, I think Adarsh will give you an idea about it. But even if you have scored less, it doesn't mean that your solution is wrong. It just means that three things. One is either it doesn't achieve what it is supposed to. The second reason is, of course, that you can see by seeing the output. So you are sure that it is achieving. That is probably why you're asking, I did it well and I'm not getting the mark. The second thing is sticking to the problem statement. So the one example is like we had insisted that the people shouldn't use combinators, but many seem to have used it. Even the earlier run, like this is one problem we had, many people had used combinators. So why we insisted again on that is then that actually causes another set of problems, which is very difficult to evaluate and come up with a proper scoring of the whole script. So we insisted that, okay, don't use the combinators. You can achieve whatever we are asking you to do, you can do it even without that, and you should do that without that. So if you used combinators, you will not get marks. So sticking to the problem statement is very important. So people ask why students have asked us like, why do you insist that you should do it this way, you should do it a certain way? So it is all about, there are multiple ways to find the determinant of a matrix, right? So, but we insist that, okay, you have to find it using a particular way because we want to ensure that you know that method too. That is it. So what we are trying to say is that the CSS assignment score should not bother you for two reasons. One is, it doesn't mean that your solution was wrong. Secondly, it is not a graded assignment. And the third thing is like, we will give you a sample solution with what are the things that we have evaluated you on, and the parameters that we have used to evaluate, which may not, or the mode in which we would have expected a certain way of writing, and you have not written it that way. That's it. So it shouldn't bother you too much. But sticking to the problem statement is very, very important, not just for this assignment, for all future assignments, because line by line, word by word, read the problem statement carefully. If we say something like, do not use this, it means do not use that. Okay. So that is, I mean, does that address your questions, Yash?
Yeah, that does answer. Yes.
Okay, Adarsh, do you want to give an explanation of what we are planning to share with them? Some rough idea of what we're planning to.
Madam, one doubt. What does combinators mean?
Abhishek?
Yeah. So,
yeah, Adarsh, okay.
All right. So yeah, I'll answer what is combinators also. But so what we are trying to do here is, let's say we have created the question statement for lab 2 assignment, right? And then we have created a solution that would completely stick to what we have given in the question statement, right? And then that is definitely one way of writing the solution of the lab assignment, or one way of achieving what was given in the screenshots, right? And the evaluation script was designed in a way that it could, it could take only certain parameters into consideration and go with one way only. But is that the only way? No, right? So what we are planning to give here is the solution that we have had for that assignment, and Similarly, the things will also try to figure out or try to give you an idea of, okay, how the evaluation script has calculated or evaluated this solution. All right. So there may be a tag or attribute which is present in our solution, and then evaluation script is evaluating that. But the same thing which you have done may be also able to give you the same screenshot, but is not there, which is evaluated in the script, right? So that was the deviation that we are thinking. Okay, so finally, as an output or as an explanation, what we'll give you is the solution, okay, that would completely stick to the question statement, okay, and then completely achieve what was given in the screenshot, and how the evaluation script has evaluated them, what was the marking that was assigned to each and every attribute, right? So this is what will give you. This is for your reference to, okay, right, this is the solution. But is that the only solution? No, right? So if you're at the end of the day, if you are able to achieve what was there in the screenshot, you can consider it as a correct solution, right?
All right. Okay.
Okay, and then there are things like deviating from the question statement. Yes, that will be penalized, right? Because that is something we want you guys to be like sticking to, because for coming lab assignments also, we want like each and every statement to be read, understood, and followed properly, right? And second thing is second thing is where you can lose marks is that you have done things correctly, but the evaluation script is missing on those. So it's like, and missing on those, with that, what I mean is it's not considering that possibility of writing the solution. Okay, so the score that you are getting at the end of the day is something that is very specific to a particular solution. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I that is that fine?
Yeah, that is
So
fine.
yeah, for me, it's like, can we put some markers of these evaluation criteria into those, the public test case? And because when we when you put the test run, it gives us 100 out of 100. Like, so we assume that our code is correct and then submit. If there is any bit of markers, like, in that, then we could be aware that something more has to be done or something like that, that we need to work on it or something like that. We would have a pointer towards that.
So Joyce, the
Okay,
public
yes.
test cases is just checking whether all the files are there, whether all these very basic checking is all that is done in the public test cases. All the functionality testing is actually done inside the private test cases. So giving you pointers in the public test cases will almost be like giving you the hints about the private test case. So this is unlike the Python or the Java case programs where we can have the public and private test cases separately, right? This is here, if you're testing whether the border color is green, and that is the one test case. You cannot have a public test case corresponding to that, right? So it is not, unlike the programming assignments, here the test cases are really not test cases as such. You are testing, you are checking whether a property is there, you are checking. So it's really not a test case in the strictest sense. So public test case, by public, we have just named it just to follow, what you are familiar with. And public test case is nothing but checking whether it has been submitted in the proper format, whether all the file names are there, whether the names have been names are done. I mean, the naming of the files is proper in accordance with the problem statement states and all that. Apart from that, about 95% of the functionality is tested in the private test cases.
Okay.
Got it? No, so
Thank you,
see, that is a difficulty that we also had as question creators, okay, because this assignment is different from what we have in Python, Java. This is something like an unprecedented thing that we are also like finding it difficult. So from our previous experience of the CSS assignment is why we decided, okay, this is an important assignment. This people should know what CSS is, styling is. So that is why we decided to have it as an assignment, but having it as a practice assignment means the evaluation script has to be extensive, and that probably even then we will not be able to address, because when there are about 800 900 students, the kind of combinations that everybody will use will be huge, and it will be difficult for us. It is not impossible, but it will be difficult for us to come up with an evaluation script while the course run is happening.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
So exactly what you're saying is that we should be sticking to the problem statement, but then the marks will be provided using the problem statement itself, that we are sticking to the code itself and not getting the desired output, or we have to stick with the code that we are trying to write in order to get the desired output, but it is differing from the problem statement itself, or is it going to be a combination of both?
No, so the problem statement is something that is taking care of everything, right? Why would we have a problem statement that makes you that lets you make a code that does not give a desired output, right? So we won't do that, right?
So Suyash, basically what is done is the problem statement and our so-called test cases, there will be a mapping. So if you say something like, okay, this has to be there, then that feature will be tested in the code.
Okay.
You get it, no? So something like this is we give a figure and say, okay, this is what we want in a tabular format. Then we check whether it is in a tabular format.
Ma'am, can't we just have a pop-up like thing that our code has not passed the public case while we are submitting? We don't need a marker that what is wrong in that. We just need that our code is wrong and we need to work on it.
The private test cases, is it? Public, yes, anyway, you are getting the output, no? So yes. I think you meant private test cases, right?
Yes, sorry, ma'am. Private.
Okay, so we'll check with the development team if that is possible. In fact, I'm not even sure whether the private test cases are done, whether they are run during the submission or whether they are done during when the submission deadline is over, like whether they are actually tested against a private test case. There is an evaluation script that runs in the background that will go through each one of your submissions and evaluate it. Whether this evaluation script is triggered during the submit button, when the submit button is clicked, or when the submission deadline is over or something, that's not clear to me. So I have to check with the development team, like how it is configured. If it is configured during the submission and then it sees that, okay, this is the case, then maybe it should give you something like the private test cases are not passed. See, we totally understand, like if you are writing, you get 100 by 100, you are satisfied that your code is correct, and then you see that you get a 3 by 100. It's totally shocking. We totally understand. We had the same thing like last time also. But one thing that I can assure you is, like, things will only get better from week 3, because the test cases are more clear. The ambiguity, there won't be any ambiguity in the case that we had for the CSS assignment. And if you just stick the problem statement, I would say, Abhishek, do you want to give some statistics, something like 80 to 90% of people get full mark, right?
Yes.
Something.
So from week 3 onwards, this is going to be the case. I remember that someone was asking that some of the cases from the private itself, from the private list itself, if they can be given in the public test cases. So we will do this right from the week 4. So what we'll do is we'll not give all of them. We'll try to pick some of them that will simulate some kind of functionality that will be tested by the private test cases, not the whole thing. I'm saying that that would test only some of its functionality, not the whole thing. So now, if you remember the input-output test cases, if your program is passing, let's say 2 or 3 input-output test cases, there is a high probability that your program will pass in some other private test cases as well, because it is also going to be an input-output test. But from week 4 onwards, what is going to happen is the tests that are written in the public space, right? They will be more and less related to what is written in the private test script. That means the tests written in the public space, they will almost be evaluating the same thing that is being evaluated by the private test space, but there will be a very minimal difference between that. I'm not sure, means if I'm talking too technically here, but I'm just want to talk in the context of an application. Let's say if in an application, you will design multiple URIs for that. You will design multiple URLs for that. And for each URL, you are going to get a different result. So just to give you an insight of what is going to happen in those type of assignments test cases is, in the public test cases, we will see that if a request that is sent on a particular URL, is it resulting a valid response or not? Now, there are multiple ways in order to check whether URL or a URI is resulting a valid response. For example, you can directly check the status code. If the status code is 200, you can say, yes, it's returning some response, or it's not going to give some error, at least at the runtime. While in the private test case, what we will do is we will check what the content is being written by that URL. So we'll also try to validate the content written by hitting that URL in the private case, in the private space. But in the public test case, we are still telling you that if the URL is returning a valid output or not. So this is how the condition, or I would say, this scenario will get better from week 4 onwards. Because from week 4 onwards, you will get assignments where we'll ask you to create Flask applications. So is that okay?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, see, the only problem here is why we are seeing so many variations between the results given by public and private test cases is it is only because of the number of possible ways things can be achieved, right? This will be numerous in case of CSS and HTML, but when we jump into things like Flask and Python, there are only certain ways things can be achieved, okay, and which will be known to you. Okay, and also, so here you won't have so many possibilities of bringing certain functionalities into picture. And in that case, the scores from both private and public will not differ. Right, are you getting?
Yes, sure. One more query. When will this detailed document will be released? It is not available yet.
Yeah. So, so it will be done very soon. Yeah.
So it takes some time, right? Because it is not done by the portal. We have to download all your submissions, run it against our script, and then see, we have to compare with the scores and everything. The sample solution is pretty easy. It's just one solution, but we also do some kind of background analysis as to how your performance is and all those things. So it will take some time. Just give us some time. So yeah. So yeah, we'll try to release it at the earliest. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
It would be nice if both the HTML thing is also released, just for our reference. Even if sample code, that should be fine.
Yeah, Adarsh, were we planning to release the HTML?
For HTML, a detailed report on the test cases, for individual student where got failed. So that will give us a clear idea.
Yeah, that has not been given, right? That has not been given, no?
No. Currently, currently we are working on that and the CSS thing also.
So Joyce, in the case of HTML, you will get, in fact, an individual feedback as to what went wrong in each test case. In CSS, that is, we are finding it very difficult to do that. In the future assignments also, that is something that we are planning. Is it correct, Abhishek? From week 3 onwards also, we have individual feedback, right?
Correct. Yeah. It won't happen just for the week 2 CSS assignment. Otherwise, that detailed evaluation report for each one would be given.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so any more queries on lab assignments?
Yeah, activity question 3.6.
Okay, so all are done with the queries regarding lab assignments?
Yes.
Okay. Lecture 3 point?
No, activity question 3.6, question number 5.
3.6, question number 5. Okay, let me go to the file first. Activity 3.5, right?
3.6, question number 5.
Okay, 3.6. Question number 5. Yeah, so this is regarding Jinja 2. So what's the
problem exactly that I'm encountering is that the option number 1 is being said to be not the correct one, while in the question number 6 it's like option 3 is correct. In question 5 also option 3 is correct, but I actually thought that it would be 1, and I'm unable to understand why it's not 1 and it's 3.
so you are talking about question 5 or question 6?
I'm talking about question 5 basically.
Okay.
Why it's not 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and why it's 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 without the commas. I mean.
Okay, so you are telling that in option 6 it is with comma, and why it is in 5 there is not any comma. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So see, can you see in the code that we have that for statement, right? for n in range 0, 10 to. So this thing you are getting, right? That we will get 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. This thing you will you are getting from here. Okay. So after that statement, that for statement, which is enclosed in that yeah. Okay, so after that we have n, right? So this is basically the variable. So in place of this variable, we will print whatever we will get in the output. So it will be 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 basically. So see here, if you are talking about that comma in 5, why it is not comma there. So if you can see the code of question number 6, you can notice a comma after that variable, n after the variable n, that you can notice a comma. Can you notice that?
Yes. Now I can. Yeah.
Okay, so that comma, that is why we are getting that comma in between. Okay.
Okay.
So this basically print if you that loop begin. So every time the number will get printed, that comma will also print with that.
All right. Yeah. Now I get that.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, someone is asking about the combinators. Who is asking about the combinators?
I asked about it. Danya ma'am sent me a link. I could understand from that.
Okay. Okay, so that you can understand from that, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So I can see in the chat someone is asking about MVC, right? If there are some questions, you can ask. Apart from that, if you are not asking, you will not ask any question, we can discuss on the MVC.
I have a question regarding MVC. There was, can I ask it now or?
Yeah. You can ask it now.
Yeah, it was in the graded assignment week 1, I think, where it was asked, view is used for just for, viewing the thing or, let me open the assignment question.
Okay.
The view in MVC architecture is responsible for displaying the data, then storing and retrieving the data, executing the business logic, and receiving the data from the user.
Yeah. So these are the options that you
and I chose displaying the data. The receiving the data from the user is also a correct answer. Yeah, I don't get that. Is it not the role of the controller?
Okay, so see, I think the question of the question you asked will be cleared if I go very deep into that MVC. So let me first explain that MVC, and then I think you will got your.
Okay.
So yeah, so let me share my screen first, and then I can demonstrate. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a whiteboard.
Yeah. Okay. Let me maximize this too. So see, basically, what you, okay, is there any color? Yeah. So see, basically, what do you mean by a MVC? So see, MVC is a kind of design pattern, right? So MVC is basically, what do you mean by MVC? It is nothing but the model we control it. So every application that we basically develop, it's somewhere it is following this concept regarding this MVC pattern. So see, the very basic advantage that you will encounter when you use this design pattern is the SOC, or separation of concern, that sir is also discussed in the lectures. What is a SOC? Basically is C. Separation of concern, it means that the MVC patterns basically with that you will break your code into parts. Okay, so in which part I am telling about? See, let's say we have an application, we had a app, so we have a backend and we have a front end, right? So see, what do that MVC does, that it will break your front end and the backend code into separate component. So this way it will be much easier to manage and make changes to either side, which of the side, at the front end or at the back end. So it turns a complex application development into much more manageable process. So this is the first advantage, right? MVC, video regarding to MVC, any developer, so many of the developers will can work simultaneously on a particular code. Okay, so it allows several developers to work on a particular application. So see, basically a MVC is nothing but the model, view, and controller. So in the chat, he is asking about what is the basic, what we can say, what is the basic boundary between the view and the controller. So let me go into some details about the MVC. So see, MVC patterns define not only the roles object play in the application. What I mean with by the object is nothing but the model object, view object, and controller object. Let assume that we have three objects. So it does not only defines that which object will play which part in an application, it also separate the functionality of a model from a view from a controller, and a controller from model. All these three objects work at a separate field. Okay, so what is the basic fields? What is the basic thing it will work on? So see, model is basically a model object basically encapsulate the data specific to an application. So see, let's say we have a client. What client? Client, we can tell a client as a user or a browser. Let's say we have a client as a browser. Okay, so on a browser, we want a particular website to come in front of us. So what we'll basically do, we go to the address bar and type that URL, particular URL, we type that. So okay, so let's say we have to go to MDN docs. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll go to the address bar and type that URL. After that, we'll do, we're sending the request to what? A server. So see, this is a client, and the client is sending request to whom? So see, on the screen, whatever he's or she is able to see. Okay, so it is the view. Okay, it is the view, but all the things in between, okay, the buttons, the interface, whatever, so, user interface and user interaction are two aspects of a view. Okay, so please don't be confused that user interaction is is a separate thing, and user interfaces separate things. Those are only an aspect of a view only. So user interface is what? User interface is, see, a view. Let's say we have a view. Let me clear the screen. Yeah. Mm. Okay. Okay, let me open Paint. I don't think this is right app. Let me open this Paint first.
Sonal, can I give an example for this?
Let me complete, ma'am, and then you
Okay,
can add up it.
Okay.
Oh. Okay, can you see my Paint? Is my Paint visible?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So see, we have a view. What is a view? A view is something that a user, user is able to see on the screen. So whatever you are seeing, it is a kind of interface, right? It is not uh, apart from user interaction. I'm not talking about a user interaction right now. It is just a kind of user interface. User interface is a platform. It designs or it provides you a platform to interact with your system. Okay. So what screen is a user interface, keyboard is a user interface. These all are devices, hardware devices that will help you to interact with your system or interact with your backend or interact with your application. So this is also a view. The point of time you click on a certain button. Okay, the point of time, if you are clicking on a certain button, so you are able to interact with the system. Okay, for in this point, yeah, you can say that this is a user interaction. Okay, if you are giving inputs, okay, see, say there on the screen there are buttons, there are text fields. Okay, text fields in which you can enter something, and there is a button. Okay, so the point of time you are giving inputs to the system or any kind of feedback to the system. So this is user interaction. So here user is trying to interact with the system. So this is also a kind of view. So I'm saying in the beginning also I was saying you that user interface and user interaction is nothing but all both are the aspects of view only. So see what I was talking about, that a user after giving that address in the address bar want to see something on the screen or display any website. So he or she is sending the request to the server. So first thing, it will go to the view, right? He will or she will see the view. Okay, view on the screen. They are able to see the screen. So let's say we are going to www.google.com, and after that there is a search option on that page, right? So after this is all view. The thing, if you are giving any inputs to that search bar, that way we are giving inputs to the server. Okay, so see, after that view, let's say we have written something on that address bar. After that it will go to the controller. Okay, controller is nothing but a intermediate between, we can say it is an intermediate between a view and a model. Okay, model is what? Model will basically it will hold control the database. Okay, all the data data related to the application, it will let's say we have some database here. So this is some database. So the model is nothing, it is the way to control the data. So after the view, after the request goes to controller, the controller will notify the model. Okay, it will notify the model that this request has been sent, so please give me the data. Okay, so that data it will fetch from the database, and after that fetching of the data from the database, model will notify this controller. Okay, so this controller, after the notification, will update that view, so that okay, this data is with me. So on the page you will see that particular website which you are requesting. So this is something, or we can also say that, see, we can also draw it as view will called as user action. Okay, all the it is the direct place which user can access. So a user view is a place where user can access directly, and it goes to the controller, and controller will basically update the model on the basis of the inputs given by the view. So it will update the model. So after the updation, the model will go to the database. Model will go to the database and try to fetch the data which on the basis of the request that has come. So after the data, the model will notify controller what that okay, I'll get I will have I can fetch the data. So after that notification, controller will update that view. Okay, so this both is a similar kind of figure, but yeah, you can also similar. So this both is kind of similar figure. So yeah, basically, if you go further detail in this MVC, so see, a view object is an object, basically an object in an application. View, I'm talking about the view that a user can see. Okay, a view object basically is a place which gives response to the user, as well as it is giving the response to the application as well. Okay, application in the sense backend, it is also giving some feedback to the backend that okay, this user is requesting this thing, and to which it is giving that request controller. Okay, it is notifying the controller that okay, this is request we are getting from the client or the user. So basically, a major purpose of view object is to display data from the application. Okay, after updating the content from the controller, basically the view, what is the major role of the view is to display the website which you are requesting, right? So the view, after the view we have the controller. What is controller is doing? The controller basically acting as a intermediary between the one on view and the model. Okay, view and the this model. So controller objects can also perform all the backend kind of logic. Okay, all the logic is controlled by the controller. After that, we have model. Model is nothing but the data. We can also say that database and model are all the same things. So model is basically the place where we are defining the logic and computation that manipulate and process data basically. So yeah, this is all about the model, view, and controller. There is many websites you can go and search. Some websites say that a user is directly in contact with the controller. Some say that user is directly is contacting the view. So don't be confused. So view is the place where the user will contact first, or view is a place where the user sees first. View is a display, a screen a user see first, and after that the output is also displayed on this view. So view is a kind of doing a two-way thing. Okay. So it is also a feedback which a user is giving to the application, and it is also doing as a feedback which is application is giving to the user. So these two things is done by the view object of the MVC. Controller is nothing but the intermediary which is taking the request and giving to the model, and then giving back to the view. And model is nothing but the place where it is what we say fetching the data from the database. Okay, so this is all about MVC. So if someone has some query regarding this, they can ask. Hello.
No, ma'am, no issue.
Okay, so Joyce, right? You are asking some queries regarding graded question. Are you got my points? Hello. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay, so someone is asking me, Joyce, right? You're asking me one question regarding graded of week 1. So are you clear with that concept? User interface and user interaction. So see, if I talk about user interface and user interaction, so user interface is nothing but a part of that hardware or part of a machine that basically focus on designing how a user or how a client will be able to give a feedback or give inputs to the application. Okay, so at this point it is nothing but we are taking up to interaction. Okay, it is just the designing, it's just the screen we are seeing. Okay, so after user, it basically focus on giving user the feedback. Okay, so in the lectures also we can we notice that sir is telling about the haptics or vibrations. So these are the thing. It is we are not giving any inputs to the system, but it is a feedback that the user is getting whenever he's clicking on any button or any part of the screen, any kind of vibration. This is a feedback which is giving to which had to be given to the user itself. Okay, so from here it is also referred to a user interface. Haptic is also kind of a user interface because we are not giving any kind of inputs with the help of haptics or vibration. It is just we are feeling it. Okay, we are not giving any inputs through that. So for example, you can see on the screen, whatever you see on the screen, this screen, this paint screen you are seeing on your screen, it is also a kind of view, right? So everything which you are seeing on a screen is kind of view. It is kind of user interface. The user interaction is the way you will give inputs and feedback to the system. The point we think of user gesture like clicking on the button, like giving some inputs on the forms. These are things like that is establishing conversation between the user and your application. So this kind of communication is established using user interaction object. So this both thing is a kind of view. Okay, so yeah, so if is there any query regarding this concept? Can I stop sharing? If you are not if you are not having any queries regarding this concept, we can move on to another query. Okay, I think all are cleared. Okay, so got it, right? So any more queries regarding any concept, any activity question, practice question? You can also ask any concept that if you are not attempted any activity questions or practice question, you had watched some section of videos also, lecture video. So if you are not aware or you are confused with some concept that is discussed in the lectures, you can also ask from them. It is also fine. Hello. Please ask queries.
I have a question. Activity 3.7. The first 3 questions.
Activity 3.7.
Yeah.
First 3 questions.
Yes. There, those.
Okay, so Jinja 2, right?
Yeah, Jinja.
So, what's your doubt?
It's like, how do you differentiate between, it says beginning and the end of a block and the person. Yes.
Joyce, your voice is breaking. Not clear to me.
Now is it clear?
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah, I couldn't understand, this different
syntax you are telling about.
Yeah, the syntax for the 3 things.
Okay. So see, Joyce, all the syntax regarding to Jinja 2 library, you can easily go to the Jinja 2 documentation. There it is also mentioned about the syntax, but let me clear you here also. So see, the first question is asking about the string that mark the beginning and ending of a block. So which block it is telling. So basically this it is telling about the beginning and ending of a block. Which kind of block? So in first option we have this syntax. So this syntax is always used in context of when we are using a loop, for loop, we can say that. Okay, so this, let me go to the question you are asking. Let me, okay. Yeah. Okay, so see, in the first question, it is asking for us. It is a kind of syntax which is basically used for statements, right? Statements, which kind of statements? The for statements, the while statement, this kind of thing. Got it?
You're saying mainly for the loop like statement.
Yeah, basically for the loop like statement. For this term statement, what do you mean? You mean about for statement, while statement in the Jinja syntax. If you want to use any kind of looping in your code, then you can use this syntax also. This syntax only, this is the only particular syntax which is only used for the statements only. So this is all about the statements. Okay, so second question is, so this is all about the statement. Second question is mark the beginning and ending of a variable. So see, this question, the first option is nothing but the statement that is discussed in the question number 1. Okay, so if you are using any kind of statements like for statements or any kind of looping statements in your Jinja to code, this option 1 will be fine. Okay, so here in question number 2, it is asking about the variable interpolation. Okay, so for this variable, we basically use this syntax: curly braces, two curly braces, opening curly braces and closing curly braces. This is basically used for the expression of variable as to print whatever you like to. As one student is asking about that question, which question I didn't understand, remember, but that there we are using that n, right? Remember that n?
Yeah, yeah.
So in place of that n, okay, in place of that n, we basically print all the outputs what we want as our as a what we can say at output. Okay, so on this place we will basically print the variable. Okay, variable. And the third thing is what is the string that mark the beginning and end of a comment. So see, the first option is for a statement, the second option is for variables, and the third is for comment. This is kind of simple. So in Jinja 2 library, basically we have this three syntax, three delimiters. We can say delimiters. So these are the default Jinja delimiters, which are focusing on the three things. Statements, if you are using the statements in the question, sorry, in the code, then we are using a curly braces and then a percent sign, and in between we can use for loop and whatever. But the main important thing is that if you are using that for loop, if you are beginning that for loop, it is very important to end it also. Okay, so in that question that student has asked, so in that question also we are using that for loop. Okay, so after that for loop we are printing a variable, and after that we are ending the for statement. Okay, so if we are using this particular syntax which is used for the statement, it is very much mandatory to close it also. If you are using for statement, then it is mandatory to use end for also. And within this particular syntax, this syntax curly braces and that percentage and end for, and after that the same thing, the closing with the closing braces. Okay, so this is all about the statement. And if you are talking about the variable, then nothing but the two opening braces and two closing braces, and in between you can write whatever you want to print. And and the third thing is the comments. Okay, for the comment, it is a very simple syntax. It is a curly braces, and after that it is a hash sign, and in between if you write anything, any code, it will not be executed. Okay, so this is all about the comments. So yeah,
All these things are available in the Jinja 2 library.
Jinja 2 library documentation. Yeah, you can go to the documentation and you can also find this syntax there, and you can also read it from there. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm waiting for some more queries. So please post your queries in the chat box, and you can also ask by unmuting yourself. Is there any concept regarding lecture? Is there any confusion which you are not getting by going through the lectures? If you're not attending the question, that's fine. But if you had watched the videos lecture, you can also post it. Any question regarding HTML, CSS? You can also post if someone is unable to speak, you can post it on chat box.
I have a general query for this course. Will be just restricted to Jinja 2 for HTML generation, or we can explore any more HTML generation apps or
Apps? Which kind of apps you are talking about?
I don't mean apps. I mean any other software or extension for HTML generation. Like there are some softwares which we can use a drag and drop objects to create an app interface and then export the HTML. So can we use that also, or are we restricted to Jinja too?
So basically in this course, we are focusing on Jinja 2. So yeah, it is a very, its syntax is very much simple and efficient. So I don't think you can skip to any other, you want to skip any to any other library. So there is also PyHTML library for HTML generation. So if we are using also, we are also using in this lecture, sorry, in this course. So yeah, Jinja 2, PyHTML, these are all libraries we are using in order to generate HTML. Hello. Yeah, so are you clear, or if is there any alternative you can post, or you can tell which alternative you're talking about? If you have any idea, you can tell here which library you are talking about.
No, no, ma'am, I'm clear. I was just asking this because for further assignments, can we use some any other external library, or are we restricted to Jinja 2? This is what my query was.
No. See, on the further weeks, if you are talking about lab assignments, so in the lab assignment question statement, it will be given that which kind of library you should use, or which kind of, if I'm talking about HTML, CSS, so in week 2 assignments also you had asked to follow all the tags, right? There is a table, frequency table, you all have to see and use those tags only in your lab assignment. So if you have to use for in that further week, you have been notified about that which kind of library you should use. But as far as week 3 is concerned, we are using Jinja 2. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Okay.
I have a doubt in the graded assignment form.
Sorry, I can't hear you clearly. Graded assignment?
One.
Graded assignment 1.
Yeah.
For week 1, right?
Yeah. It's just your browser sends an HTTP request and receives an HTTP response. It's question number 4, and which of the following is true? And this is one statement that is marked as true. Is it not HTML response?
Okay, let me go to that question first. I don't have that file open. Week 1 graded, right? Okay, let me go to that file, week 1. Wait for a minute. Which question you are talking about?
Question 4.
Question number 4. Yeah, question number 4. Which of the following is true for a web browser? This question?
Yeah.
So yeah, what is your doubt in this question?
A web browser, the second option, a web browser sends an HTTP response and request and receives an HTTP response.
Joyce, your voice is not clear to me. Is it
now is
only
okay?
Yeah, you are talking about option 2, right?
Yeah, option 2.
So what is your doubt in option 2?
I thought it receives an HTML response. Is it a HTTP response? Receives.
Okay, you are expecting here that it receives an HTML response, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So see, here in this question, we are talking about the HTTP protocol basically. Okay. So we are not talking about the output or the forms of output we'll get from the browser, from the server, this kind of thing. We're just uh, talking about the protocol, which protocol we are using in the way to send a request or to receive a request. Okay. So you are talking about HTML response. Okay, that is correct if you're talking about outputs. We get output in the form of HTML from the server. But if you are talking about here, we are talking about protocol. So basically, also here we are talking about if you are sending a request to a web browser, which kind of protocol you are using? HTTP protocol, right? So for if you are requesting from the server in order to fetch the resources, right? Fetch the which kind of resources? In the form of HTML document. In the form of HTML document, it is output that you can see on the screen. But the protocol that is involved, it is HTTP only. Okay. So this option 2 can also be reframed as a web browser sends an HTTP request and receives or HTTP request and receives an HTTP response, and in order to fetch the resources such as HTML document. Okay, we can also add a point right here. You are talking, it is also right in context of option 2, but here we are only talking about the protocol. Okay, are you getting me?
Yeah, I'm getting, in case if you're using local host, like, you're using the same machine, in that case, how do you respond with this statement?
If you are talking about the local host.
Yeah.
So see, in context of local host, you are not involving any kind of server, right? Yeah. It is just your machine. You are requesting any resource from your machine and just giving to your own machine only. So there is no kind of server involved. So where we are giving any HTTP request here? Will not give any HTTP request. We are not involving HTTP protocol, right?
Is that the HTTP protocol means that you give the URL and all these things? That is the HTTP protocol, right?
Your voice is not clear. I can't.
The HTTP protocol is that you give the URL and all these things. That is the thing, right?
Yeah. If you are exchanging any kind of data on the web, if it is the web in which you are requesting the resources, any kind of server is involving, and a client server kind of architecture is establishing, that thus on that criteria, that HTTP protocol will come in place, right?
So
Basically,
for the local thing, we don't use this protocol.
no, we will not need that HTTP HTTP protocol in that way. If you are using a server in any case, okay, so we are not using any server if you are giving and sending request and response to our own machine, right? If it is not any kind of it is not any kind of web involving here, right? Yeah, so usually a web browser is done. We basically give request and a message we fetch from the server. These are called the responses, right? So yeah, so in that case we are in option 2. Yeah, that is done, which when we are involving any kind of web or web server. Yeah, okay. So any more queries? Any concepts, any queries regarding lectures also you can ask.
Hello, hi ma'am, this is Bipin here.
Okay, yeah, hi Bipin.
So I just wanted, I had a question regarding the course content and syllabus. And so we are studying HTML and CSS right now. I just wanted to understand, like, are we going to move over to JavaScript and all those things, or are we just going to, I mean, is JavaScript involved in this course?
Okay, so see, if I am talking about this course, so JavaScript is not involved in very much detail in this course. We are just introducing JavaScript in the later weeks. Okay, in the weeks like in the last weeks, I think. Okay, in the last weeks we can just give you an introduction about what is JavaScript and how it is implemented and some of the concepts regarding JavaScript. But we are not going into detail into JavaScript. So yeah, apart from that, HTML CSS is just the thing that are used in the lab assignments. That is enough. If you know the concepts regarding HTML CSS, which has been taught in which has been asked in the lab assignments, that will be fine for this course. And if you're talking about the JavaScript, so no, we are not going very much detail into JavaScript. So yeah.
So I see that the syllabus for week 6 and beyond week 6 is APIs and backend and application
Yeah,
and front-end security. So is it more like theoretical? And I mean, because without all these technologies, how would we be working on APIs and
No,
backend?
so we are using Python for it, right? So there are many libraries and there are many packages in Python also. So we are using that. For example, for databases, we are in week 5, I think. Yeah, for in week 5 we are using Python SQL Alchemy Flask. So we are working on Flask, right? Flask is a framework of Python. So we are in week 5 we are using Flask SQL Alchemy for database. After that, in week 6 we will read about Flask RESTful, and it is basically for building APIs. So we are not going into JavaScript. We are just using Python, and we are just going into the Flask, and we are using some of the packages and some of the libraries regarding related to Flask only. And by that only we will be able to go into that extent, all the APIs, and there are very large number of packages available in the Flask also.
Okay, okay. And one last question. So
Yeah.
will we have a project to submit at the end of this course?
Yeah, you will get the project, but I don't know when exactly. But yeah, you will get the project, and at the end of the course you will have to submit that.
So like, do you have, I know that you don't know the exact date, but do you have like a nearby, which, I mean, from which week we should be expecting to get the project, and by what date, I mean, general date could the submission be?
So date I can't tell you, but at the end of at the end of 6th or 7th week, yeah, 6th, 5th, 6th, 7th, this 3 weeks I can expect you will get
Okay.
that project statement. So we are working on that project statement, and as soon as it will be created, I will share that statement with you all.
Okay, ma'am. And just like, by when could we expect the submission? Is it by like the final exam, or could it be after the final exam as well? The end
No,
sem?
it will before the end sem.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, any more queries regarding questions or course content, any kind of queries?
None yet, ma'am.
Okay. Are you asking something or you're?
No, I'm just saying that, yeah, no more questions from my side.
Okay. So yeah, if you all are done with the question, then we can close the session. And if anyone wants to ask something, you can also post it on the chat. We have time, so we can address those also. And if not, we can wind up. So I'll wait for 2 minutes and then we can close the session. Okay. Please post your queries on the chat. If anything about lab assignment, HTML, CSS, previous week's question, or any question regarding week 3, also we can address it. We have 10 minutes more, so yeah, we can address those. So yeah, I think we can close the session. So yes, sir, you can stop the live streaming, sir. So thank you all for coming. Yeah, anyone wants to ask something? Joyce, are you?
No. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, thank you all for coming into this session. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, sir, we can wind off. You can stop the live streaming.